Hey everyone, Todd here, internalarchitect.com, and in this video you're going to learn about what to say to someone with cancer. Now before I get going, hit subscribe below and hit the ringer for notifications, and at the end of the video please leave a comment and let me know what you think. As survivors, obviously we've been through the entire gamut of the cancer experience, and we have dealt with a lot of interesting pieces of relationships that we encounter as we go through it. And it's safe to say that we have learned about the things that we like and the things that we don't like as we go through this entire experience. Even though we deal with chemo brain and pure loss of memory and time travel and just a lot of different aspects of what the experience of cancer is like, there are things that we just don't forget, and that is a lot of what we didn't like to hear. Talking to friends and talking to family about the things that people say as a cancer patient. With this video, I wanted to go through a little list of things I think will make sense to anyone out there that is trying to understand what it's like and to have a little empathy of the person that's going through the treatment and through the cancer and through the entire experience. So it's hard to know what to say and what not to say, especially as a person that isn't going through cancer. What I mean by, like, there was never a rule book ever really written to give to people that are not cancer patients. And I guess with that said, every relationship that we go through before cancer leads us into a lot of different directions and really kind of helps guide our life in who we surround ourselves with. And that is also true for cancer patients and even for survivors too. When it comes to what you say to someone with cancer, there's so many obviously different things that you need to be aware of. And one, if you really are concerned and if you really want to show empathy, you need to show and express your commitment to that person. Because as a cancer patient, one of the biggest things I had was making sure that the people that were really concerned for me really showed that empathy and really were there. And by that I meant through a lot of different things and a lot of little things. I will always remember the people that said they wanted to help, and they did. And when I called on them when I needed something, they were there and they helped. And that's what really makes a difference. But before you decide to show your commitment in the support, because it takes a lot of commitment, you need to have some time and understand your own emotional issues that will come along with it, because it is a commitment and there's going to be a lot of fear and stress that's going to come along with it also. So as a non-cancer person, that is something that you need to take into account and you need to make sure that you are okay with. As a survivor, we understand that your time is also limited. We don't expect a lot. We just expect a little bit of follow through that comes along with it. One of the things I think you need to know is, once you are able to find out, you're more than welcome to ask us what kind of cancer we have if you don't know, is to do some research on it. Find out what it is that we have so that you can understand kind of what our needs might be and what we might be up against. And that should help with helping facilitate certain things and making certain commitments become a little bit easier for you too. So one of the things that you need to do is ask permission. And that means for everything. Ask permission before you come and visit. Definitely before giving any advice, because I can guarantee you we probably don't want to hear it. But sometimes a little bit of advice might go a long way. I think the biggest thing is just to make sure that, and this has to do with the communication side of it, we as cancer survivors need to do a better job of making sure that our relationship and our communication with you is open, right? And we want to make sure that you understand that saying no, or for us to say no, is okay. It doesn't matter either way, just as long as there's a mutual respect for that. This is something that will really help with dealing with that stress and dealing with that fear, because there's times where you're going to want to feel like you really want to do something, but you can't because of all the other stresses that might be going on in your life. So from a cancer patient standpoint and from a non-patient standpoint, just be prepared for a lot of no's, because that's kind of how it goes. You never know how the patient patient might be feeling. And likewise, you never know what the non-patient might be dealing with. So if you're going to make plans, stick to them. Don't back out at the last minute because, oh, I'm just kind of feeling sick or whatever. It's important that if you're going to make a plan that you're going to stick to it and that you follow through. And that means like whatever the plan might be, and whether that's taking your patient friend out for lunch or take your kids to school or whatever, there's a little bit of flexibility that needs to happen within that, but stick to those plans and make sure that you're committed to doing that too. One thing you need to be aware of also is the changes that will happen physically and mentally with your friend that's going through cancer. There's going to be a lot of dramatic physical changes. There's going to be hair loss. There's going to be a loss of weight. There's going to be physical changes because the chemotherapy really does a number on your skin and does a number on your muscles. So you're going to see a lot of different changes that go along with that. I'm not saying that everyone is like this, but I'm saying a good majority of people that go through cancer because of the treatments and because of the testing. And so you might end up also dealing with a lot of mental changes too. Your friend might be one of the best happy-go-lucky people, but during certain times, he might just be an asshole. You just got to take that into account, that he's going through something that is, or she is going through something that is so crazy that you can't understand it. So have a little bit of respect for that too. That's going to be huge. I think one of the biggest things also is try to laugh together, whether it's telling jokes or telling stories. When you're together, just try to be humorous because it really does lighten the spirit. As a patient, you're dealing with your mortality and it's really hard to keep it all going and keep your mind focused, and to have a little relief from humor, it goes so far into really helping with that mindset and keeping your friend kind of focused. So make sure that is something that you can do. And it also has to be kind of timing appropriate also. There's never an easy moment to really bring in humor into a situation, but it's good to make a light conversation and occasionally tell funny stories because it really does help. When I was diagnosed, I remember the outpouring of support right off the bat from the community, from family, friends, and it was awesome. It was heartwarming to know that there was a lot of support in the community for what I was going through. As time went on, that slowly kind of dissipated, which is understandable. Everyone has to go back into their own lives. And at some point, the people that really meant the most were the ones that stuck by my side the entire time. And that's what really I remember the most about it. People were really open and really helpful. And there were also people that were they weren't very helpful, and they were really frustrating to deal with on a daily basis. And those are the people that I really took a step back from in my life. And you have to be prepared for that. You just got to be careful of the things that you say around patients, because not everything you say is really, it might be well-intentioned, but it will most likely come across as a bad or negative thing, and we just don't need that in our lives. Something you can do is just check in occasionally. These are like the check-in side of it is something I am currently still really trying to get better at, because as the director of a nonprofit, I help patients and survivors get into the mountains and give them an experience. And one of the things that's always been difficult for me is to continue checking in and just seeing what's going on and seeing how they're doing. And I'm making a better effort. I'm very aware of it, but something is just making a quick phone call or shoot them a quick text and let them know that you're thinking about them. That's huge. I remember talking to a lot of people about it all. And I think what made it a little easier is I started a blog to kind of just, one, to document what I was going through, and two, let everyone know that I'm still here, I'm still going, and to kind of share my experience as best as I could. And that really meant a lot to my friends and family that weren't in state and weren't able to see me. That really, I have all the comments and everything were so positive and so awesome. Many people find it hard to ask for help, and offering help will help your friend and will likely let them appreciate your effort into what their needs are. And this is where that communication comes back in. You got to talk to them to find out what they might need. Offering practical pieces of help really make it easier for the patient to say yes and no to. Whether that's like cooking lunches and dinners, to maybe helping take your kids to school, or maybe your pet needs a walking, whatever it is, if you can offer that type of help, that is what really is huge, because after chemotherapy and after treatment, it's not that we don't want to be bothered. It's a big chore for us to do these things. And honestly, we really feel really bad physically to be able to do these things. And for a patient, we feel like we are neglecting the things and the obligations that we have because of what we're going through. So these are the practical things that really we could use and we could use help for. And again, I'll always say, just follow through. If you're going to offer help, follow through with it. Do it. And if we ask for it, please follow through with that. That's where really that communication comes in. And that's what's important for us as patients, to really help you understand that also. We also just like being treated the same as we were before. Obviously, we're going through a big life challenge. So, try not to let the condition of where we're at really dictate our relationship and the treatment to us about it also, because like I said, the physical and mental changes that we're going to go through will be stunning. And if you can treat us the same as best as you can, that's really huge in our ability to move forward and to really work on beating the cancer from an internal standpoint. It's always good to talk about other topics other than cancer. Whether that's, I've always been a car guy. I like talking about cars and trucks. I like talking about snowboarding. I like talking about mountain biking. These are things that you can have conversations about that'll be kind of motivating in between treatments. Just having those conversations really make it a lot more enjoyable, because we're not necessarily talking about cancer. We're not talking about the thing that might kill us. So keep that in mind. I think that's a really good one too to really work on. I remember having a lot of conversations outside of cancer, and that makes me realize that it was really important in my healing in between treatments and after cancer as a survivor, because I actually really enjoy talking about my experience, because it really helped me a lot grow as a person, and two, just I think it's really important to share your story. But there's so much more to life than just cancer, and especially the experience that us survivors have gone through. It doesn't mean that I don't like to talk about it, but just sometimes something else is really appropriate and really thoughtful when it comes to the discussions that I have with my friends and my family too. And then, like I kind of touched on earlier, is just as a patient, we will feel like we need to have some sort of an outlet. And for me, I kind of turned to writing. I ended up creating a blog and just kind of writing when I had free time, and sharing my experience as I was going through treatment. And it was really therapeutic for me. But what really meant a lot was my friends that were able to read it and respond to me back about it. And that was huge. That let me know that people out there do really care in the internet world, right? So those are some things there too. There's a lot of other things that I could go on about, but these were kind of the key ones that I have written down. I think they were really the most important, easiest way to express how to start dealing with a new cancer patient as a friend. These are my experiences that I went through. I have hundreds more, but at the end of the day, these are the ones that are easiest to implement, I think, for someone that is concerned and wants to be able to know what to say to his friend who's going through cancer. Yeah, hit me in the comment section below and let me know what you think. And I just want to say thank you very much. I really appreciate your time and energy into watching the videos, and thank you again, and I will see you on the next video.